listening to the Wrestle Havoc podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. We talk all that goes on in the realm of WWE and AEW every week. And now, here's your host, the one that will give you a reality check on pro wrestling, Flamin' Ricky Reyes. This is the Wrestle Havoc Podcast.
What's up, everybody? It is Flamin' Ricky Reyes, right here to review Monday Night Raw from January 30th, 2023. Of course, it is the fallout from this past Saturday's Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and it looks like the road to WrestleMania is in full swing, and I'm absolutely excited to see where WWE is going to be going this year when it comes to WrestleMania. Of course, we have Cody Rhodes kicking off the show. We have Elimination Chamber qualifying matches that are happening on this show. WWE actually announced that Austin Theory will be defending his United States Championship inside the Elimination Chamber. We also got a women's Elimination Chamber match announced, and we had some qualifying matches for that as well. But next week, we will be getting a fatal four-way match as well. So we got two Elimination Chamber matches, and Elimination Chamber is definitely looking to be a very, very good card. Not necessarily for the Elimination Chamber matches, but for what you guys all knew, what happened at the end of the Royal Rumble. It looks like they are leading to Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. We only got a video package about what happened, of course, at the Royal Rumble, at the ending, that amazing ending to the Royal Rumble. And we looks like we're going to be getting more details on SmackDown, so I'm very excited about that. But before I get on with all of this craziness regarding Monday Night Raw, make sure to like and subscribe to the Wrestle Havoc podcast right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the frickin' referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. Also, the Wrestle Havoc podcast is also available on audio platforms. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and Google Podcasts. So if you guys want to listen to the Wrestle Havoc podcast in audio platforms, it's available on all of those listed platforms. The link will be in the description below. My apologies if I sound a little bit shot. It's because of the fact that I'm sick, so my voice is just completely out of it right now. I got a sore throat, but hey, it is what it is. You got to keep on grinding, right? But Raw kicks off with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Of course, Cody was the winner of the men's Royal Rumble match. The men's Royal Rumble match actually kicked off the show, which is very rare for WWE to do something like that, because I don't think they haven't done that in the Royal Rumble's history, in my opinion. Or not, I wouldn't say in my opinion, that makes no sense, but Cody Rhodes kicks off the show, and Cody Rhodes cuts a fantastic promo, basically, saying that he's going to win the WWE title. But the way he cut this promo, this is probably one of the best Cody Rhodes promos ever since coming back to the WWE, in my opinion. So we get a bunch of Cody chants from the crowd, and for all the people that are saying that the fans are going to turn against Cody, I hate to break it to you, but the fans absolutely loved Cody in this scenario. So we get a bunch of Cody chants from the crowd, and we get a bunch of "You Deserve It" chants. And the first thing that Cody says is, "So, what do you want to talk about?" After that, he talks about, goes without saying that there is always something new on this show. He talks about how a 19-year-old kid coming into Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW, the sign in the front always said, "Tomorrow's Superstars Today." And he talks about how he's sitting in his Volkswagen Jetta, and he remembers he vividly thought himself that he will be WWE champion in the next 2 years. He also thought he will be the next John Cena, but if he could go back and talk to that 19-year-old him, he would tell him that it wouldn't go down like that. One night in London, that he'll basically tell him that one night in London that he will get slapped so hard. Talks about how he will be dashing Cody Rhodes. Talks about how he would tell him that he would restore the Intercontinental title. He would tell him everything. He would tell him that on January 2023 also, he won the Royal Rumble match. And that punches his ticket to WrestleMania. Truth be told, he wouldn't tell him a single thing because every little piece of this broken road has been worth it. He comes out here singing the words, or I should say, he comes out here and the fans are always singing the words to Kingdom, but the first words are his own. Wrestling has more than one royal family. Actually, WWE has more than one royal family. And for that to be real and true and venerated and vindicated in his heart, he has to stand across from another. He has to stand across from the tribal chief, the head of the table. He has to stand across the biggest superstar on this planet, and he has to stand across from Roman Reigns. He talks about how he has a great deal of respect for Roman Reigns, and he says this with all of sincerity. WrestleMania is in 62 days. That might be 62 days for Roman, but for Cody, or I should say himself, it's 62 days for the rest of his life. Because at WrestleMania, undesirable becomes undeniable, but undeniable remains uncrowned, and on that night, it ends. At WrestleMania, pull up a chair, but because on that night, somebody else will be eating. After months, he can be the tribal chief, or I should say after WrestleMania, he can be the tribal chief, and he can be the head of the table, but the one thing he won't is the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. So that was the promo that Cody cut. Now, there's some more because Judgment Day came out, but what are my thoughts on this Cody Rhodes promo? I thought this was probably probably one of the best Cody Rhodes promos ever since coming back to WWE. We always knew Cody Rhodes was fantastic on the microphone. Even in his days in AEW, even before AEW even started, this man was like a master magician on the microphone. But there was something about this promo that really I really liked. And it really was, to be honest with you, I felt that the camera work, towards Cody Rhodes, something about that, like the way the promo was shot, felt very different to me. Because if you watch a WWE promo, they don't know what they usually just like point at the wrestler and just let the wrestler speak and kind of like look at the crowd. In this case, Cody Rhodes is actually looking at the camera. Now, granted, Roman Reigns has had times where like he just looks at the camera and shit, but I'm gonna be 100% honest here. I felt like that Cody Rhodes promo, the way it was shot, it felt like a promo that Cody Rhodes cut in AEW. I do not know why. Maybe that is just me and I'm tripping, but that was a really nice touch. But overall, this got me very, very excited for Cody Rhodes because of the fact I've stated this on the Royal Rumble review and even before the Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes needs to be the guy to not only win the Royal Rumble, but needs to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns because of the fact that there's no freaking way you bring this man from AEW and pay him all the amount of money that you do, and there's no way that everything that Cody Rhodes has said before getting injured, you bring him back and he loses the Royal Rumble match and doesn't get that shot against Roman Reigns. Everything that Cody Rhodes has stated before getting injured will be rendered absolutely useless. So this was a fantastic promo on Cody Rhodes' end. And after that, Judgment Day come out, and Finn Balor says that he's so confused. He tells Cody to do something original. Basically talks about how Cody Rhodes has been ripping him off since day one, or knock off all his old stuff he's done before. Dominic says that he ruined their plans at the Royal Rumble, and says that he was supposed to win the match. And speaking of the Rumble, what happened to Rey Mysterio? Dom says that he put his hands on him and ruined his moment. But what would have happened if he did that in prison? He would have gotten got. Who are you, R-Truth? I'm not stupid. Priest then says Dom should have won the Royal Rumble. And then Dom says he owes him now. And he owes him an apology for what he did. And then Cody Rhodes asks Dominic, says that is he trying to scare him straight, which is a funny ass line. I laughed at that is a nod to Beyond Scared Straight on A&E. Funny ass thing. Then after that he says that he has a lot of respect for his father, and then Dom says straight up, I do not have any respect for your dad, especially your dad. Cody says that he could play it safe and could be him and kick his ass. And any three of them, they can do it right here, right now, tonight. And after, running down the card. So WWE, after this, they run down the whole Raw card. And right after that, Judgment Day is actually still on the stage. But then Edge, out of nowhere, comes out from behind and attacks the whole Judgment Day. And then Cody Rhodes enters the fray, and we go straight to commercial break. I loved that they did that. I like the fact that WWE, like, after the promo, they just ran down the whole card, and Judgment Day was still there. And after they ran it down, they basically, what they did was they just had the brawl just break loose, even after they ran down the card. That was actually a pretty nice touch. But overall, this was a great opening segment, and got me very excited because later on, we actually did get Finn Balor versus Cody Rhodes, which was a great match overall. We had a Elimination Chamber, the first of many Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. The first one being Seth Rollins versus Chad Gable. I like the fact that we be getting qualifying matches for the Elimination Chamber because I remember 2 years ago, WWE announced an Elimination Chamber match, and the main reason for announcing all these people was, oh yeah, they're all former WWE champions, so that's why they're in this match. They didn't give them a reason as to why they were in the match. Now they're finally actually giving them a reason to be in this match, and they've been doing this for a couple of months now because Triple H actually focuses on logic, unlike Vince McMahon. So we had the Seth Rollins versus Chad Gable match. It was a pretty good match overall. Chad Gable looked fantastic, and he was definitely in control throughout the majority of this match. Seth Rollins, of course, looked great as well. The finish was actually pretty badass as well. We get an ankle lock by Gable, but then Rollins goes to the ropes. We get a rolling German suplex by Gable, and we get a cover into near fall. At this point, Rollins is on the outside. Gable goes for the cannonball, but once we're back in the ring, Gable goes to the top. He hits the flying headbutt. We get a cover and a near fall. And once we're back in commercial break, Gable continues to work on Seth Rollins. We get a couple of chops by Rollins, but then Rollins gets sent into the corner. But then he gets caught by Gable, and then Gable goes for a dragon screw into the corner. After that, Gable goes to the top, and then he lands on his feet from a moonsault. We get a roll up by Rollins, and we get a near fall. But then Rollins has him up and hits the buckle bomb after that. But after, Rollins proceeds to sell his name. Then we get repeated clotheslines by Rollins. We get a rolling German once again by Chad Gable on Seth Rollins. He counters, Rollins counters, and actually hits the super kick. Then he goes for the Falcon Arrow on Gable. We get a cover and a near fall. Rollins then misses a stomp, and then he tries to go for the pedigree, but then Gable goes for the jackknife pin. We get a near fall. We get a roll up by Rollins. So basically there's like reversing roll-ups and shit. After that, Rollins has him up, and then he drops him down to the mat. We get a cover by Gable and a near fall. Gable then goes for a waistlock, but then Rollins goes for the elbow. Rollins then hits the ensiguri, but then Gable reverses it into an ankle lock after that. Rollins escapes, but then Gable still has to hold off the ankle lock, or he still has a hold of the ankle lock. My apologies once again. My voice is just absolutely shot. We got a roll up by Rollins, and we get a near fall. He tries to go for the stomp, but then Gable then again applies the ankle lock, but then Rollins reverses it into the pedigree. Again, badass finish on Seth Rollins' part. And we get a cover, and Rollins wins the match and qualifies for the U.S. title Elimination Chamber match. Overall thoughts on this match. I thought this is exactly how you book a qualifying match right here. This match was everything that it needed to be, and Chad Gable looked absolutely great. When it comes to these qualifying matches, because WWE has a tendency to do this, every time when they have like some sort of qualifying match, there are some matches that you can definitely see are obviously predictable. Of course, you have to have that. But at the same time, some of these other matches are like so predictable that they don't even make the other guy look strong. And even if Chad Gable lost, Chad Gable still looks ridiculously strong in this match because he literally put Seth Rollins to the limit. That's what I liked about this whole match. This was probably the best qualifying match throughout the entire night, in my opinion. In our next match, we got Iyo Sky versus Candice LeRae. This is actually a pretty good match as well. If there is one thing I will say about this show, is that the wrestling on this show was very good. So a quick couple of notes on the match. We got a roll up by LeRae. We get a near fall. She hits a senton onto the back of Iyo Sky after that. Sky then gains control. She face plants Candice to the mat, and then Sky slams LeRae to the mat. At this point, Sky is in control. We get a running kick by Candice LeRae. Sky is on the outside, and we get a sliding drop kick by Candice LeRae. After that, Candice takes Sky back in the ring, but then Sky regains control. Iyo Sky then goes for the suicide dive on Candice. Bro, I still call her Iyo Sky. That's so funny. Once we're back in the ring, Candice hits a drop kick, but then Candice goes for a springboard crossbody onto the outside. Once we're back from break, Candice goes to the top, and she hits the drop kick. We get a cover and a near fall. Iyo then goes to the top, and then Candice also goes to the top. Iyo then escapes, but then Iyo hits a backbreaker on Candice LeRae. We get the double knees by Iyo into the corner. Iyo then goes to the top, but then Candice goes up. She hits a German suplex off the bottom rope. We get a cover and a near fall. At this point, both exchange shots. We get a back elbow by LeRae, but then later, Candice is up onto the shoulders of Iyo Sky. Then Candice counters with the Poison Rana. Yes, the Poison Rana, one of my favorite moves ever in wrestling. We get a cover and a near fall. Candice then goes to the top, but then Iyo pushes her off. She hits a moonsault, but then Candice gets her knees up after that. We get a roll-up by Candice, but then Dakota ends up making the distraction. We get a roll-up by Iyo, but we actually get a near fall. Bayley is on the apron after, and then Iyo goes for the roll-up, and Iyo Sky wins the match. So that was a great showing overall by Iyo Sky, but of course she won via the help of Damage Control. And Damage Control, or I should say Bayley, had a really good segment later on in the show with Becky Lynch. We get a Rhea Ripley segment. Of course, Rhea Ripley was the winner of the 2023 Women's Royal Rumble. She cuts a promo, and she actually makes her decision tonight. Says that it's been a while that she hasn't been here without her Latino heat, that being Dominic Mysterio. She wanted all the attention on her. 2 nights ago, she destroyed the status quo. She came in as number one and outlasted 29 other women, because Cody said the same thing, and everybody was like, nah, he did not last 29 other guys. Actually, he did not even last 28 other guys. It's not even 29, it's 28, because Rey Mysterio wasn't even in the match. But back to the promo. Talks about how she came in number one and outlasted 29 other women to win the Royal Rumble match. And now she gets to choose whichever champion she wants to face. And as soon as she mentions what I'm going to say, you already knew who she was going to choose. And look, I like that they're tying in continuity, but at the same time, I don't like the fact that she is wrestling this particular wrestler she's about to name. So she talks about how 3 years ago she just turned 24 and she was just getting started. She was the NXT Women's Champion. She challenged the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, that being Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte says that she put her in her place. The funny thing about Charlotte is that she is somehow in the title picture all the time, and she hates to give her credit, but she seems to get better every freaking year. That saying, Charlotte is at the top, and she is the destruction, or the destroyer. She doesn't like the normal formula and doesn't like things being overplayed. So she advises everyone rising and bowing down to her, because they are about to rise to Rhea Ripley. And at Mania, she puts her in her place, and she chooses Charlotte Flair. And it's official. We got Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. What are my thoughts on Rhea Ripley choosing Charlotte? Again, I like the fact that they are adding continuity into this instead of just having, saying, oh yeah, I choose Charlotte Flair and that's it. Again, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair did wrestle a couple of years ago at WrestleMania during the pandemic, right in the beginning of the pandemic when WrestleMania was at the Performance Center, unfortunately. And that led to Charlotte actually winning the NXT Women's title. That didn't make sense then, and it doesn't make any sense now, in my opinion. I thought that was the dumbest thing that they ever did. But I will say, I like the fact that they added continuity, but what pissed me off was the fact that she didn't go straight to Bianca Belair. Instead, she went back to Charlotte, because keep in mind, at the same time, they also have Asuka looming. She just made her return, and this new version of Asuka is what Asuka was in Japan, of course, Kana. And my guess was, I wanted them to do Asuka versus Charlotte and Bianca versus Rhea, because if you really think about it, there is also another story when it comes to Charlotte and Asuka, because I believe back at WrestleMania 34, Charlotte did beat Asuka for the championship, and she did beat her undefeated streak. She broke that streak. So there's a story there, but it looks like they're going with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. But I will advise them this. Rhea Ripley has to win the championship. I don't give a shit what anybody says. The reason why is because of the fact that we've gone this far with this version of Rhea Ripley with Judgment Day that it probably became one of the best things on Raw, on WWE television in a while. And if they don't put the belt on Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, then what the hell was realistically the whole point of this whole match to begin with? That's all I'm going to say about that. But, yeah, man, it looks like we are going to be getting Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I'm not a fan of it. I would have done the Bianca Belair route because of the fact that, number one, they're on the same brand, and number two, to me, is just more interesting in my opinion. But it is what it is. Seth Rollins, we get a backstage interview, talks about tonight and talks about how his match against Chad Gable and how he won the match. And he will go into the chamber and take the U.S. title back from Austin Theory. And then he gets asked, Kathy Kelly actually asks Seth Rollins about Logan Paul, and then Seth Rollins leaves the interview. Is that leading to a possible Seth Rollins and Logan Paul match? Right after that, I clearly see them going that direction. It's pretty obvious at this point. Then we got Johnny Gargano versus Baron Corbin in a Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Honestly, you already knew who the hell was going to win this match. Johnny goes after Corbin. We get a Hurricane Rana by Gargano. He hits a dropkick, but then Corbin hits a boot. Corbin then sends Gargano into the corner, but then Corbin goes for the backbreaker. He picks up Gargano, but then Gargano escapes. Gargano then goes for the spinning kick, but then Corbin lands onto the outside. Get a dropkick by Gargano. At this point, Johnny is on the apron. Gargano then tries to jump over to the top, but then lands into a right hand by Baron Corbin. Corbin then goes for the chokeslam on the top of the barricade on Gargano. Once we're back from break, Corbin is in control. Then Corbin goes for repeated elbows. After that, we get a cover by Corbin and a near fall. Gargano is on the apron, but then Corbin runs into a spear by Gargano, and then we get a cover once again and a near fall. We get a back elbow by Corbin, and then he hits the enziguri after that, but Gargano runs into the deep six after that. We get a cover and a near fall once again. Corbin then goes for repeated rights, and then he takes Gargano, but then Gargano fights back, and then Corbin runs into the post in the corner. Corbin is on the outside, but then Johnny Gargano goes for the tope suicida. After that, on the outside, at this point, JBL is on the outside, getting pissed off because he's JBL. And then Dexter Lumis takes out a small axe, and he slices his hat in half, which was pretty entertaining to watch. But then Corbin still is in control over Johnny Gargano. But Gargano goes for the inside cradle. Gargano gets the win, and he advances into the Elimination Chamber match. I ain't going to lie. This men's Elimination Chamber match is looking fire. Usually when it comes to the Elimination Chamber, I'm not as interested as I was so many years ago with the Elimination Chamber because I feel like the Elimination Chamber has been so devalued these past couple years, in my opinion. Like, I just never gave a single fuck about the Elimination Chamber. Like, if you compare me being excited about the Elimination Chamber when I was a kid until now, as a kid, I was so excited for the Chamber. Nowadays, I'm just like, eh. But I will admit, the Elimination Chamber match is looking very fire right now. We get the VIP lounge, and the special guest is Austin Theory. And I will say, man, this segment was actually pretty good, in my opinion. I really enjoyed this, and they are still teasing that whole Hurt Business reunion right here. But, of course, we got the guest. The guest is none other than the U.S. champion, Austin Theory. And Theory says, whoa, first of all, beyond all the disrespect that MVP gives him, he thanks him for inviting him into the VIP lounge. He talks about how when he was a kid, he used to watch the VIP lounge all the time. I hate when they do segments like that. I hate when they do lines like that. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to watch this shit. I hate when they do shit like that, especially in the WWE. I don't know why. Something about it just pisses me off. Because then I feel old. Then he talks about how he is here to be reinvented and wants him to make him relevant once again like him. And then he basically gives his pitch, and he's like, the MVP Lounge presents ATL Austin Theory Live. He talks about how we should get rid of the VIP Lounge and call it Austin Theory Live. And then MVP asks Theory about the Elimination Chamber match. And MVP says that there's a man that calls Lashley that he could possibly beat him for the title. It says last week Lashley was going to beat him. And then Theory proceeds to judge MVP and says that it's hard to survive Bobby Lashley, but he survived it. And it says that Brock Lesnar F5'd him, and he is the ruthlessness that is what the new generation needs. So he basically puts himself over the entire time. Talks about how no aggression can stop him, but then MVP says that The Undertaker threw him out of the Elimination Chamber, and MVP says you never know who's going to be in that chamber. And Theory asks MVP if that was a threat. And then Theory tells Lashley that he will not be in the chamber match, and MVP says that he is worried about his health. And then Theory says that he should be worried about his and Lashley's health. And then what happens is Bobby Lashley comes out after that. MVP then tries to talk to him, but then Theory says, listen to your daddy, which basically pisses off Lashley. And Lashley goes straight for the attack. He basically destroys the whole set. And then MVP picks him up with the cane. He basically has his cane onto the chin of Austin Theory after that. And then it looks like Lashley's actually going to set up for a spear on Austin Theory. But instead, Theory, in the end of the day, pulls MVP. And by accident, Bobby Lashley spears MVP. So overall, I actually really enjoy this segment. Again, this is a continuation into the story of the reunion, or I should say the second reunion of the Hurt Business, and they're just adding more and more to the story, which at the end of the day I really enjoy because of the fact that I constantly stated this on Raw reviews, like I always dug the Hurt Business. I thought the Hurt Business was such a badass stable that they ended way, and I mean way too soon. And I honestly believe now that Triple H has a chance to kind of reintroduce the Hurt Business in a way that we haven't seen before. And I'm really enjoying what they're doing at this point. All right. We got a backstage interview with Judgment Day. And Finn Balor tells Byron Saxton to tell Edge that he works on Mondays and talks about how Cody has been stealing from him for years. And Finn is coming to kill Cody Rhodes' legacy, basically. After that, we got a Miz segment. Talks about how he wasn't given his spotlight at Raw 30, and then he got beaten down at Raw 30, and KO got exactly what he deserved. Of course, he's talking about that ending that happened, and he complains about his elimination, and he's been given nothing. He demands to be treated with respect until he is given matches that matter. And then Adam Pearce comes in, and he brings in a returning Rick Boogs. Yes, Rick Boogs finally makes his return, of course. Rick Boogs got injured last year in the opening match at WrestleMania against the Usos. Like, that is a terrible way to get injured, and I'm glad Rick Boogs is back. And then Miz, after that, says that he wants to have, if he wants to have a match with Boogs, he says that he's in a $10,000 suit that his wife bought him. Spoiled brat. And a referee comes out, and the match starts now. Miz is just so afraid. And then Boogs drops Miz into the corner. Miz tries to fight back, but then Miz escapes. Boogs then ragdolls him around. He picks up Miz, hits the slam, and Boogs wins the match. Great seeing Rick Boogs back, but this was a segment, honestly, that we really didn't need. But again, of course, it was to showcase Rick Boogs, and overall, it's great to see Rick Boogs back. Now, pair him with Shinsuke Nakamura. He should pair him with Shinsuke Nakamura at the end of the day. We get a video package of the Royal Rumble ending, and a well-produced video package, I would say. We get a Bayley segment. She talks about what happened at Raw 30 and talks about how Damage Control took out Becky Lynch and made history. They had so much confidence going into the Royal Rumble. There was elimination after elimination, but she has to say her personal favorite was when she eliminated the man, Becky Lynch, and talks about how the story has ended, and they ended this obsession, and all this is finally over. But then what happens? Becky Lynch comes out, and Becky says that they are not done. She just needed to make sure that her and her girls didn't win. Excuses is robbing these people of a cage match, doing whatever to do to avoid going one-on-one with her because she is afraid of her admitting that she is better than her. Bayley says that she is smart. She came out here to celebrate, but she makes it everything about her. Becky says that it's actually her birthday, and Bayley says that she doesn't suck up to her, and she knows her. She doesn't like her, and after she says that she doesn't like her, that being Bayley saying that to Becky Lynch, instead of Bayley calling Becky Becky, she actually calls her by her real name, Rebecca. So that is what I really enjoyed. She thinks that she is overrated, and she isn't good enough for this to be champion again. She isn't good enough to be champion again. And, after that, she says that she's not even good for her husband, which was pretty funny to say. And the only reason he married her is because he knocked her up. And then Becky says that she thought that they were fighting over wrestling, but whatever this is, the animosity, all this started 10 years ago at NXT. And next week at Orlando, she gives her that steel cage match once and for all. But then what happens? Bayley says no. And then what happens is Becky goes to the back and she leaves. And it looks like Bayley's just like celebrating, saying, ha ha ha, you're a coward. But then after that, Becky drags a beat down Dakota Kai. And after that, Bayley gets so scared that she accepts the match. Says that she's going to bring her friends next week, but she might want to check on Iyo as well. So it's official. We are going to be getting Becky Lynch versus Bayley next week on Raw. I think that's going to be a great match. Is it going to be a steel cage match? I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to be a steel cage match, but overall, I'm still happy that we're actually finally going to be getting Becky Lynch versus Bayley. Do I think this is going to be like their blow-off match? Honestly, I think that I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to drag this on, but overall, great segment overall, and I think the them adding real life situations in this feud makes it even that 10 times better. But that is just me. Adam Pearce announces the Women's Elimination Chamber. So we will be getting 2 Elimination Chamber matches at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So the first match is going to be, so there was qualifying matches, and what happened was there's going to be qualifying matches, and 3 women are on the Elimination Chamber match. So we got Raquel Rodriguez versus Nikki Cross versus Liv Morgan versus Asuka versus 2 more members to be announced. So after that, says that there will be whoever wins will be the number 1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 39. And their 4 runner-ups were the women that I just named. But there also will be a Fatal 4-Way match between Candice LeRae, Mia Yim, Piper Niven, and Carmella to determine the 5th participant. Overall, I'm excited for this. Whoever wins this match gets a shot at Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title. But I will say, there's some SmackDown talent on this match, so I do not know why you would have some SmackDown women challenging for Bianca Belair in a number 1 contendership match. That makes no sense, but it is what it is. At this point, WWE just not gives a single fuck about the brand split, and they're just focusing on their plans towards WrestleMania, and you can't really blame them for that. But hopefully after WrestleMania, they actually take the brand split seriously. But I'm still excited for this Women's Elimination Chamber match. We get a backstage interview with Carmella. And talks about, she basically just puts herself over, and she's not the fabulous Carmella that we have known her to be for the past 2 years. She's actually back as the Princess of Staten Island, so it's great to see Carmella back with her original gimmick. And then what happens is Asuka comes in, and she just gives her a creepy look, and she smiles, and she shows her teeth, and she has the green mist just dripping down her, drooling down her mouth. And then Carmella leaves. That was a great sight. I think they're going to definitely take Asuka finally as serious as she is, because Asuka is a feared woman in the ring. And I think that this whole, I don't want to say new Asuka, because she's done something similar to this in Japan, but fuck, man, Asuka is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'll guarantee you that. All right, we got Cody Rhodes versus Finn Balor. Pretty good match overall. It's great to see Cody wrestle once again on WWE television on Raw. The last time he did it was, I believe, a couple weeks before Hell in a Cell. So that was great to see. Let's go through the match. Both lock up. We get a right hand by Cody. Cody picks up Balor, but then Cody goes for the delayed front suplex on Finn Balor. And the story of this match is basically Balor is trying to basically tear once again the fixed pec of Cody Rhodes. So Cody has Balor up. He tries to go for the Alabama Slam, but then Balor escapes. Cody then goes for a clothesline followed by a right hand, but then Balor regains control. We get a couple of stomps on the torn pec of Cody, but then we get a couple of chops by Balor into the corner. We get a running kick by Balor, and then we get a cover and a near fall. Balor is in control. He continues to stomp onto the pec of Cody, but then Balor is up on the apron. Cody then catches Balor, but then Cody goes for the dragon screw after that. Then he goes for the disaster kick on Balor onto the outside, but then Balor later on hits the tope suicida. Cody then takes out Priest and then takes out Dominic. Cody goes for the power slam, but then we get a cover and a near fall. Cody then tries to go for the Cody cutter, but then Balor catches Cody and drops him down to the mat. Once we're back from commercial break, Cody and Finn are on the top. Cody picks him up and hits the superplex. Cody fights off Finn Balor. Both exchange shots, but then Finn runs into the Cody cutter. We get a cover and a near fall after that as well. Cody takes Finn for a crossroads, but then Finn counters. Finn goes for the sling blade after. After that, Finn then tries to run into a super kick by Cody, and then we get a cover and a near fall. Cody then applies the figure four, but then Balor goes for the inside cradle. We get a near fall. Cody then gets taken to the outside, but then Cody is surrounded by the Judgment Day. And Edge all of a sudden comes out through the crowd, and then we get a spear on Dominic by Edge, and then Rhea, out of nowhere, attacks Edge. But what happens? Beth Phoenix comes out. Of course, she made her return at the Royal Rumble as well. But then Beth Phoenix spears the shit out of Rhea Ripley. We get a double stomp by Balor, shotgun dropkick by Balor, and it looks like Balor is going to get the win. But then Balor goes to the top. Edge makes the distraction standing up on the apron. And then Cody takes Balor with the crossroads the first time, hits crossroads the second time, and hits the crossroads the third time. And we get a cover, and Cody Rhodes wins the match to close off the show. Overall, this was a great match. I really enjoyed this match for what it was. Cody looked fantastic. Balor looks great. I hope I see a match with these guys in the near future. But, yeah, man, where are they leading to? Are we possibly leading toward maybe a tag team match at the Elimination Chamber? I honestly do not fucking know. I may be completely bullshitting with you guys here. But overall, this was great. Right now when it comes to Roman Reigns, the main story that they're focusing on is the whole Sami Zayn shit. But I will say, for the time being, since we're only like 3 or 2 weeks away from the Elimination Chamber, I mean, give something for Cody Rhodes to do and continue to establish Cody Rhodes as a legit guy. But still give those small teasers on Roman Reigns until after the Elimination Chamber. Because keep in mind, we got a whole month, we got no pay-per-views. So we got like 5-6 weeks of a build for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. So WWE, again, was very smart to put the Elimination Chamber in Montreal because they're going to be giving Sami Zayn his moment. But at the same time, Sami Zayn is not going to be beating Roman Reigns. But again, overall, I thought Raw this week was actually pretty good. Usually Raw is a drag to watch. And I will say, a little bit in the middle of that show, I was just kind of like, whatever. But overall, this is a pretty good show. Cody Rhodes being back just brings a new life into the show because clearly Raw has been struggling these past couple of months. And having Cody Rhodes back makes it just so much better, in my opinion. But, yeah, that was my Raw review from January 30th, 2023. Overall, pretty good show overall. Was it an amazing show? No, there were some hiccups there, but overall, it was not a bad show at all, and I'm definitely looking forward to Elimination Chamber as we are on the road to WrestleMania 39, and it's only going to get better this coming Friday on SmackDown to see the true fallout from that amazing ending that happened at the Royal Rumble. Again, my apologies. I am sick. I sound like shit. But overall, I wanted to give you guys the Raw review because I am very passionate in what I do, and I really want to give you guys content at the end of the day. But yeah, we got the Raw review from January 30th, 2023. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications. I'm on the lookout for more videos right here on the Wrestle Havoc podcast on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the friggin' referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. And as always, it is Flamin' Rick signing out.